how's it going, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Ahead of time, I want to apologize for the background noise because we do have laundry going on. It's a very busy house, like I've said in the past videos, so I appreciate you guys ignoring that throughout the video. Anyways, you guys just saw my new chair that I picked up here for the house. Main reason was because my old chair, let's just say, it has seen better days. The bolts on the underside keep coming loose. The cushion is just about completely fallen out completely. I can dang near pull the whole thing out from it. And needless to say, it has been a little discomforting. So I picked up this monster stool from our gear wrench rep, and so far I'm pretty happy with it. It seems to be a lot more heavy duty steel as far as the base plate. It feels pretty structurally sound. There's a hydraulic piston underneath it that once you put the seat on and sit down on it, it all kind of self clicks in to place and works great. There's a little lever on the side so you can adjust the height, whether I want to sit down or I can sit all the way up here, but I kind of found a happy middle ground that I actually like. Alright, I picked up another tool specifically for work because we've had a couple of situations come in where we've had like carrier bearings that would often go bad. We don't necessarily always rebuild differentials. It really depends on the situation and who feels most comfortable with that. We would normally send it out to or sub it out to another shop that actually specializes in stuff like that. But there have been a handful of situations that on like axles and hubs and drive shafts and other things like that that I thought this specific puller might actually come in handy. So let's take a look at it and then we'll talk about the whole setup. Alright, so I picked this up. It's MST 4520 differential side bearing puller. So obviously it's meant for pulling the side carrier bearings off of the carrier itself. This is a tool. It gives you a 4-piece set because the 4 most common bearings that would be on a carrier, those are the adapters for it. I'll show you how this whole thing hooks up. You get a couple of claws to clamp around the actual bearing itself, kind of acting like a clamshell puller. Clamshell pullers are really good to have, but this is actually pretty decent as far as what I thought it when I was looking at it. I'm like, you know, it's pretty rugged, pretty tough. Here's how the setup would go. So 2 push pins. You can adjust the width of it with the 2 different holes that you have. Various adapters that go on the end to give you a pressing force. You just tighten the screw down and loosen it up to get down and around the bearing. Tighten it up to obviously pull the bearing up. The claws themselves, they're not too bad as far as bulkiness is concerned. I did have a little bit of reservation behind it, but like I said, I think having a bearing puller is absolutely crucial in the automotive field, especially if you're working at an independent shop, and in some cases a dealer, because if you're certified to work on differentials or drive lines, you're going to end up needing pullers at some point, and the shop doesn't always have them. Alright, here's the sizes that it covers. So basically 1 11/32, 15 16ths, 1 1/8 of an inch, so forth and so forth. Alright, so here was my reservation at first. So you can see this is where the flat portion of the claw is and how thick the actual top portion is. So I did have a little bit of reservation wondering if that would actually get underneath the bearing, but sometimes you do have a little bit of a gap when it comes to carrier bearing pulling. I don't know what other situations that I might actually find myself using this. Like I said, I also had an idea that maybe I might be able to use it for pulling other bearings off, whether it's a pinion bearing or maybe some axle bearings. I don't know. I'm kind of playing with the idea. It's always nice to have a puller. I've got a couple of pullers that are pretty nice, but the knuckle or the hook isn't flat, and they're really big hooks, so it wouldn't really fit underneath the bearing very well. I thought this puller set would actually be pretty nice. Dare I tell you how much I spent on it? Yeah, I guess it doesn't really. Don't worry about how much I got it for, I would say, because, you know, I did buy it from MATCO, so obviously I paid a higher dollar. I'm sure you can find one online. As I said, if you can, that's obviously the better and cheaper route to go. And as I've always said in various videos, you don't have to always own the name brand stuff to get a good quality tool. I'm sure you can find a close comparison, if not maybe an exact replica on Amazon or online. But you know what? I had my bill paid down. I was looking to pick something up, and I had an idea when I saw this. I was like, you know, there was a couple other things that I had in mind that I wanted specifically from MATCO. But when I saw this, I was like, I'm on it. You know what I mean? Because The clamshell pullers are nice to have. Like I said, the best ones that I've used and seen used are from Snap-on. I haven't tried other bearing separators before, so my curiosity was more than up there as far as should I pick this setup from MATCO, and so I did. Overall, I'm pretty happy with most of the MATCO products I've had. I've had very few situations where any of them actually have failed me. I've had a couple of instances with some double box end ratchets that I've worked around, and I think I've got all the bugs and kinks worked out, warranted a couple of those out. I had a couple of issues with the fuel pressure gauge and some of the Zerk fittings within the hoses for my fuel pressure test gauge set, and I did have some issues over time with snap rings on the 1/4 inch nut driver, which again, like I said, that's probably because of my misuse on that part, because you're not meant to put chrome sockets on it. They were meant for impact sockets, and that's just because of those. Remember, we were talking about on the sockets how there's teeth embedded on the inside to help latch on to the ratchet. Well, the 1/4 inch version, it's on the 1/4 inch socket too, is not meant for that. However, if you find yourself an impact socket, and I don't know that I have any here that are impact rated, these ones might be. Yeah, these ones are. So I have these unique spline drive sockets that are impact rated from MATCO as well, and there's no internal tooth on that. Instead, there's you'll see a little tiny hole for locking extension, or for the detent on a regular extension to go through. So let me just pull an extension out real quick, and then I'll pull a ratchet out real quick to show you that. So on this extension, it's a locking extension, but you can see the detent ball. You pull that back, it tucks in, you let it go, it locks into place. Okay, that's all well and good, but what if it's not a locking extension? Well, even like on a ratchet similar to this, there's a little detent ball on one side, and when you go to push the socket onto it, it locks into place. So that's just meant to kind of keep it and hold it together. Anywho, all that aside, those are the only few issues that I've actually had with MATCO. But like I said, I'm using chrome sockets on an impact rated snap ring, so over time it was bound to wear out. Haven't had any issues with their air tools, which will go into another video or anything like that, and their cordless tools seem to hold up pretty darn good themselves. So that's what I picked up for the shop. Also, I want to give a special thanks, and I know that they probably aren't watching, but I know that they are happy with the amount of business that we've brought to them throughout the years. And just in the last 12 months, I think we've bought enough fuel pumps and fuel pump rebuild kits that Precision Fuel Pumps actually sent us some mechanics gloves. And I'll throw a little video clip down here in the corner. But look, guys, having a good set of leather gloves, with you're working with hot exhaust or anything that might be heavy or sharp, maybe you're pulling a cylinder head and you don't want to cut yourself on some of the edging, because let's face it, not all heads are cut perfect, and sometimes there's a little metal aluminum burr that hangs off, and I've sliced my fingers open on that not knowing about it. Latex gloves work so well, nitrile gloves work so well, but they don't protect you from every nick and shard of metal that you run into contact with, which is why it's nice to have a decent pair of leather gloves of some kind. So thank you, Precision Fuel Pumps. I appreciate it. I know the other guys in my shop appreciate it too. That's all I got for this video, guys. Look, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Share if you want to share. And feel free to let me know your experience as far as pullers. Who have you had good experience with? Has it been OTC? Have you used Snap-on? MATCO? Has there been another brand that I haven't listed off here in this video that you actually like and prefer as far as pullers go? Let us know down in the comments. That's all I got for this video. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.